On this day, May 31st, 2024, the first chapter of The Princess and the Pirate hit Webtoon. 2 years later, we have over 100 subscribers following the first full season that is now 26 chapters deep and counting. Hi guys, it's Anna Rose, and I'm here today to thank you so much for reading along with my first big girl comic. The Princess and the Pirate is a story about a lot of things. It's about birds, it's about body positivity, it's about power structures and how love dismantles them. It's a story full of queer characters, which is why I released it on the eve of Pride Month in the first place. This year, I thought it'd be fun to make a proper celebration for the anniversary by making art for a print and computer background. I wanted to give the crew of the Wave Break a proper beach day, including cute beach outfits, all custom made for their personalities and pride flags. Right now, I'm working on the sketch. I tried to include as much of the creative process as possible in the speed draw, but what you don't see is me making these reference sheets that keep flashing on the screen. And what you don't see is the little layout I have in my physical sketchbook that I drew before drawing this digitally. Recently, I've been doing a sketchy line art style. I did it for, I believe, chapters 23 through 26 of the first season of The Princess and the Pirate. And so you're seeing that now. This is a little bit different than what I usually do, because usually I have one color of line art per panel, but because this is Pride, I wanted to do rainbow, and so each of the different characters have a different line art color that is taken from their original palette, and I'm just going to use that as a multiply layer, so it gives each of the characters their own unique tone. The other reason that these characters are all rainbow themed, aside from Pride, is because The Princess and the Pirate takes place in the Three Seas. It's full of feather folk, characters who all share their feathers or wings with a certain kind of bird, and the different colors of feathers determine the kind of magic they can do. So not only is it, from a design standpoint, just fun to have a rainbow cast of characters, but it's also important from a story standpoint that these characters are all rainbow toned. If you keep reading, you'll see why. We've already seen Dawn show off their blue-hued abilities. That creates some nice light magic, and that's actually something we're going to get more into in the next couple of chapters. And then here is Shim and Lolly reading some heated rivalry books. And maybe it had its moment a couple months ago and it's not as big now, but I still think they'd enjoy reading those books on the beach together and being able to talk about it. Shim and Lolly don't have the best relationship, which is kind of funny because they also have a lot in common. That's one of those things where, like, they kind of feel like they can't stand each other, but everybody else looks around and goes like, you two should be best friends. You enjoy all the same things. Why are you pushing each other's buttons so much? But we'll get into that later. And here I am starting to add some of the background colors. This is a little bit different from my comic pages because my comic pages aren't usually full in color. Several of the panels are, but certainly not all of them. The reason I've been leaning away from doing proper line art and instead just relying on that multiply layer for the line art, really I quite prefer the more organic look that the rough, sketchy line art has. I kept looking back and thinking, I kind of just liked the energy that the sketches had, and isn't it unfortunate that there's a whole step of the process that you don't even get to see in the final product? And as an independent artist, I want to market myself more, and I can't market myself more if I don't have time, and I can't have time if I'm sacrificing an entire part of the process that I don't even really want to sacrifice. So those are some of the thoughts that I had that led me to making that art style switch. Here I am, I'm starting to light the background a little bit. Another really nice thing about this print is that I got to just focus on the characters in full color. I do really like the monochrome look. that I have with my webcomic. I do it because I genuinely do think it is an appealing look, and it conveys the energy of the chapter, who is this chapter is about. Chapters, I believe, like 20 to 23 were all about this party that everyone on Everglen is having. And oh, would you look at that? Which is where Yella and Heather live. Yella's color is yellow and Heather's color is green. So that's why it's all these beautiful golds and greens going together, just like they do. And then the next couple of chapters are really about Avon and Bliss. And Avon and Bliss have a hard conversation, and then we jump across the sea to another hard conversation that's going on pertaining to the two in their future. And so that's why those colors are more gray. I liked doing these little Polaroids but for a couple reasons. It was so that you could get a closer look at some of these swimsuits. It was also push-up characters that were, Sunny's the farthest away in the frame, so I made sure he had the biggest close-up in the photos. It's also a fun way to experiment with some different lighting styles all within the same piece. And now I'm starting to add those details that kind of make this look like a real collage that these characters really made and stuck up on the fridge. I actually work at a paint bar, and so it's funny, I don't do a lot of digital painting, but I have been working with the gouache brush a little bit recently, and I have been quite liking that. I really like the combination of the gouache waves and then also the sharp lines on top. After all that, this is the Pride print that I came up with. I love the historical periods that I draw inspiration from in The Princess and the Pirate, but this is a really great opportunity to put them in more modern outfits they wouldn't normally get to be in the comic proper. So that's just been a lot of fun. The final design has a couple small changes. Most notably, there are some more stickers on the very top, and I wanted just a bit more pizzazz. One of the first webtoons I ever read, and something that still inspires me so much to this day, is the webcomic Big Joe that I think started all the way back in 2016. And I've been going back and reading this comic, and I'm like, oh, that's where I learned that sometimes it's healthy to be fat. And oh, that's where I learned fat girls can wear bikinis too. And the chapter where Joe puts on that cute the Little Mermaid inspired bikini, and she sees the mirror and she's like, see, I could never be as confident as that girl. And then her family's like, Joe, that's a mirror, right? That's you. I'm not able to draw Bliss like that yet because that's not her part in the story. But this is a nice little excuse to kind of venture out from the canon timeline and give her a little bit of that confidence that she's going to end up having at the end of the day. If you have enjoyed this speed draw and you want to buy this print, this is going to be available soon on my Ko-fi store as a physical print that you can purchase, or you can also buy it as a digital computer background on my Ko-fi as well. These make a great present for yourself if you're celebrating Pride Month, or a great gift for friends if they're celebrating Pride Month, or if you have an empty frame at home and you want everybody who visits to think that you just have like 8 very hot winged friends, then you can slap that in there too. I love getting to make this webcomic, and I'm so thankful that so many people have taken the time to read and subscribe, and that support means so much to me. I am a still freshly graduated animation student, and I know how hard the art world is right now and just the world is right now. So if you don't have money to buy this print, even just like leaving a like on this video, on the comic itself, giving it a read, sharing it with your friends, that's something that's free to you but means the world to me and gives me the gumption to keep going and keep writing these characters for you, and any support is so appreciated. I know that it's a bit of a scary time, but I really do believe that there's so many people who want you to be afraid, and there's so many people who want you to be hopeless. Every time we experience joy and love, and we share that joy and love with one another. What that is not just our success, that is their loss. And that is the thing that I always hold on to when times are scary and dark. And I hope it gives you a little bit of hope too. Even just by watching this video all the way to the end, you've given me a little bit of that hope and joy, and I thank you so much for that. I hope you have a wonderful Pride Month and a wonderful month after Pride Month, and August and September, and so on. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.